The following program is rated TVMA. What you're about to watch contains explicit language, adult themes, violence, and may not be suitable for viewers under 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. You can activate parental controls from any device by going to account settings.
Hello everyone and welcome to Tag Wars 94 exclusively here on ECW Home Video. Hello everyone, this is Joey Styles and we have put together a collection of the most wild, the most brutal, the most bloody, well, the most extreme tag team matches of 1994. And on this video cassette, you will see the likes of the Public Enemy, Flyboy Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge, the world-famous Malenko brothers, Jason's Pit Bulls, the Bad Breed, Ian and Axel Rotten, as well as the Bruise Brothers. So sit back, relax, and get ready for Extreme Championship Wrestling. Smoky Mountain Wrestling. The Bruise Brothers are in the building. Public Enemy, because they wanted to fight, and nobody else wanted to fight them except the Public Enemy. Case closed. It's that simple. You got it. It's ECW and nowhere else. There is nowhere else. All hell is broken loose early. Remember, no rules, no holds barred. Chairs illegal, brass knucks illegal, chains illegal. What the hell? If it ain't nailed down, it's legal. Johnny Grunge and either Rodder or Don Harris, I'm not quite sure. Johnny Grunge now forced to defend himself with a chair. This is right, this is going down right in front of me, if you can believe this. I've lost sight of Rocco Rock and the other Bruise Brothers. They're in the bleachers. I can't quite find anybody. They're somewhere in the building. Believe me, somewhere in this building, four men are beating the living hell out of each other. Here comes one half of the Bruise Brothers and Johnny Grunge out of the bathroom. And Johnny Grunge back into the bathroom. Quite frankly, where he belongs. Can you imagine being the mother of Ron and Don Harris? These are two men only a mother can love. Rocco Rock trying to get away from Ron or Don or, well, one of the Bruise Brothers. Rocco Rock being pasted against the wall. He may become a permanent fixture of this arena right over by the snack bar. Rocco Rock has been busted open. Are you kidding me with this? Are you kidding me? We have lost all of 7 semblance of order. Am I still on the air? Do these headsets work? This is Eastern Championship Wrestling. You can't find this kind of action in Atlanta. You can't find it in Stanford. Believe me, I know, I live there. You're not going to find it in any mountains. You're not going to find it in Memphis. You're only going to find it in Philly, the city of brotherly love. And speaking of brotherly love, it's one half of the Bruise Brothers depositing Rocco Rock on the canvas. Rocco Rock doesn't know where he is. Well, he knows where he is now. He's on the floor. And the Bruise Brothers are just completely annihilating the Public Enemy. These two jailbirds who have run roughshod over everyone here in the ECW are being manhandled by the Bruise Brothers. Both Rock and Grudge, blinded by their own blood. Oh, they're in the stands again. There are chairs flying all over. Johnny Grunge is wearing one. Quite frankly, he goes lovely with this out. This is just brutal. This isn't a wrestling match, it's a street fight. This is a South Philadelphia street fight. And if you're not in the ECW arena watching this match live, I'm certainly glad you can be with us on ECW Home Video. This has got to be the hottest video cassette in town. Johnny Grunge just being pummeled at ringside. Oh, he can't even see.
Into the match, 5 minutes.
Johnny Grunge begging off, asking for mercy. He'll get none. None from either one of these two. Can you appreciate what it must have been like to grow up in the Harris household? I mean, what did these two get for Christmas? Chainsaws? Rocco Rock in one half of the Harrises now, right beside my broadcast position. Rocco Rock now right in front of me. Rocco Rock attempting to use a soda can. And right in front of me, if you can see this, Rocco Rock being choked out by one half of the Bruise Brothers. This is great. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm getting out of here in a hurry. No, not on my table. No, what are you doing? My table. You've got to be kidding me. Right on my broadcast table. The table is broken. Rocco Rock and one half of the Bruise Brothers. I can't believe this. Only in ECW and nowhere else. Rocco Rock has been laid out right in front of me. I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my mind. This is ECW. It's not for everyone. And right now, it's certainly not for Flyboy Rocco Rock, who is just being pummeled. Pummeled. Well, now you know if you buy a front row seat at the ECW, you're getting your money's worth. You might have to share it with the Public Enemy, but you're getting your money's worth. Hey, there's a novel idea. Let's get it back in the ring. Rocco Rock continue to be pummeled. Rocco Rock is just being choked out by these huge Bruise Brothers who are about 6'10", 300 pounds apiece. Can you imagine their poor mother trying to feed these two? What do? Just knock off the horns, rip off the tail, and wheel it out. Wait a minute. another one. And who can tell these two apart? That's got to give him an advantage. Of course, wait a minute. Rocco Rock's got a 2x4. Remember, there are no rules. There's a cover. And the Public Enemy, after sustaining a heinous beating at the hands of the Bruise Brothers, found the loophole. It's no rules. Rocco Rock with a 2x4. And the Public Enemy remain the bad boys of the block here in the ECW. They found a way to win the match. But you can bet the Bruise Brothers will be back in the ECW arena to face Rock and Grudge.
He's a classy individual, isn't he?
Oh yeah, Johnny Grudge. His mother's proud of him. This is Joey Styles, joined by the Psycho Yuppie from Scarsdale, New York, pulling dangerously as the Public Enemy. Rock and Grudge set to square off with Axel and Ian Rotten, the Bad Breed.
And this is a brawl game, which means pinfalls don't count. What has to happen is that they have to take the opponent down for a 10 count, just like in boxing. And the team that knocks the other side down for 10 then gets the legal use in a falls count anywhere match of a baseball bat.
And that's a matchup you'll see only here in the ECW. Rocco Rock set to start off with little brother Ian Rotten,
whose last name aptly describes his wrestling ability.
And Ian Rotten getting the crowd going, chanting Jailbird, Jailbird. And the Public Enemy none too happy about it.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be either. I mean, these guys are trying to downplay their past. Here they are now trying to make a living, licensed professional wrestlers, and their past keeps getting thrown up in their face.
Where's he going?
He's leaving. He doesn't want to hear it. I don't blame him.
He can't leave. He signed for a matchup. He signed for the brawl game.
Hey, who's the bald guy?
It's Commissioner Todd Gordon. He signs our checks. Be careful.
And a nice suit he's wearing, too, I might add.
Absolutely. You know, he's not only the president, he's also a member.
Can you say member?
I can on ECW home video. Todd Gordon telling the Public Enemy they signed for a matchup and they had better get back in the ring or they will be counted out and get the loser's share of the money.
So you're telling me that Gordon is now sending the two hoodies back to the ring to take on the Bad Breed in a brawl game.
You got it. That's the way it's done here in ECW. No easy way out. You got to settle it in the ring.
Yeah, but I tell you what, you know, the Rotten brothers may think that did them a lot of good, that they intimidated the Public Enemy, but I think it's going to do them a whole lot worse than good, because the last thing you want to do
Push me to the limit
is to push a guy like that to the limit.
But be careful not to underestimate the Bad Breed. Axel and Ian Rotten will not be intimidated, and they can brawl with anybody in the sport of professional wrestling.
Oh, hey, this is a classic matchup. I mean, these are two teams that really just don't give a damn. The Bad Breed has spilled more blood in ECW than any team this past year, with the possible exception of the former ECW Tag Team Champions, Flyboy Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge, the Public Enemy.
Again, Ian Rotten goading the fans into getting on Rocco Rock's back. Ian Rotten has yet to lock up with Rocco Rock. Little conference there between Rock and Grunge. I wonder what that was all about.
Oh, I'm sure Johnny Grunge is just checking all the foreign objects he's going to bring into this match.
That's what it looked like, didn't it? Side headlock by the Flyboy. Shot off by Ian Rotten, and the Flyboy runs right into Ian Rotten, who did not move.
The Flyboy doesn't seem too happy about that, and I can't say that I blame him. He's used to having his way in life, and what he can't have, he will steal. What he can't steal, he'll mug somebody to get the money to buy.
I hadn't thought of it.
That's why I'm here, to bring these things out.
Lucky me. Go behind by Rocco Rock. Get behind me. And Ian Rotten claiming he doesn't want the Jailbird behind him, and the referee leery as well.
Hey, you know, man, this is the past of the Public Enemy. Just because they spend time in Rikers Island, now these guys, I just think it's an excuse by Ian Rotten. I think he's afraid of what the Flyboy can do to him from behind.
I think he's afraid of Rocco Rock doing to him from behind, but WCW has been doing to wrestling fans for years.
Oh man, I would have run all the way clear through the dressing room and out the parking lot.
Once again, Rocco Rock runs into Ian Rotten. Ian not moving.
Yeah, well, hey, now calm down here. You know, I know you're used to doing these things by yourself, but now that you have a co-host for this match for ECW Home Video, allow me just a little bit of airtime, if you don't mind. Unless, of course, you'd like to be like Jim Ross and just hog up all of the airtime.
Do you smell alcohol on my breath? That's enough of that. Rocco Rock whipped in. Moonsault by Rocco Rock to get out of the way. Here comes Ian Rotten. And Ian Rotten runs face first into the top turnbuckle. Rocco Rock now going to work. And this is where the Public Enemy is so dangerous.
And what you're seeing now is a preview of what's going to happen when Iron Mike Tyson gets out of prison. You're seeing a fighter, a natural-born fighter, a trained fighter, a man that took it on the streets, and now he's been released from prison, and he is releasing all of that aggression onto his opponent, and now you're going to see the other half of the Public Enemy, a man with an equally aggressive attitude, Johnny Grudge.
Nice double team maneuver. Ian Rotten laid out by Johnny Grudge, surprisingly agile. Cover!
There are no covers.
Okay, that's why I know you're going to knock him down for a 10 count. Johnny Grudge forgetting the rules and now going after the referee. This is the brawl game. You must knock your opponent down for a 10 count so the baseball bat comes into play.
What you and everybody else has to keep in mind is that in the life of Johnny Grudge, there are no, there have never been, and there never will be any rules.
Johnny Grudge now looking for a foreign object. Whipped in, pants around his knees, back body drop.
I think that's more of a fashion statement by Grudge.
It's the best he's ever looked. Grudge now shot in. Double clothesline, both Grudge and Ian Rotten down on their backs.
Now here's a question for you. If both guys get counted down, do we restart the match, or do both teams get a baseball bat?
No, I think we have to restart the matchup, wouldn't we?
Well, I asked you.
I don't know. It hasn't happened. If it does, we'll worry about it then. Todd Gordon is in the building. He'll make a decision. He's no figurehead president.
Oh,
He's
man.
no Jack Tunney.
If you're looking for Todd Gordon to make decisions, I'm sure the wrong one will be picked. But I'll tell you this, whatever decision will be made will be in the favor of the Public Enemy. They're the ones that invented this match on the streets.
Let's hope Commissioner Gordon hears your comments and is happy to sign over your paycheck to Joey Styles. That's S-T-Y-L-A-S. As now Ian Rotten tags in Big Brother Axel. And now you're going to see some brawling as Axel Rotten loves to mix it up. Rocco Rock ducks the clothesline. What agility moonsault press the second rope, but there are no covers. This is the brawl game.
Hey, and you know, this is the Grudge's benefit, because if he decks the referee, he might get fined. Big deal. He doesn't care. He doesn't have any money anyway. The fact of the matter is there's no disqualification leading up to the 10 count, and then it's falls count anywhere.
Good point, but here in ECW, you would have to think action would be taken against Johnny Grudge. He's used to punching out authority figures, punching out people wearing badges, and carrying billy clubs, but you do not touch officials here in ECW. That's an oh-no.
Wham! Beautiful counter by Axel Rotten, and now he brings it on the Flyboy Rocco Rock.
That sort of looks familiar. He kind of reminds me of somebody else.
Who?
Who do you think?
I don't think. That's the point. I commentate. If I took the time to think, I wouldn't have all these snappy answers for you. That's the problem. Too many people in wrestling think nowadays. They think improperly, but they think.
Well, you've been watching WCW pay-per-views as Johnny Grudge goes downstairs. And Axel Rotten. Here's the 10 count. That's an innovative way to get a 10 count, but nevertheless, it would be effective.
And that's the bottom line when it comes to the brawl game. It's not whether you lose, it's how you win.
Words of wisdom from the Psycho Yuppie. Clothesline once again by Johnny Grunge.
And you know, that spit was very heavy. He hucked a really big loogie on Axel, and that can weigh you down.
Disgusting, Dangerously.
Thank you very much.
Hey, no. Rocco Rock now tagged in.
Yeah, but you see the Public Enemy once again showing authority. They do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, and to whom they want to do it, as Johnny Grunge now gets Axel ready for a pile driver.
No, Axel run, throws Johnny Grunge over the top, and here comes the Flyboy.
Once again, the Public Enemy showing that their tag team skills are superior. They work as a cohesive unit. They watch each other's backs like they did on the streets of every hood across America, as Johnny Grunge now brings Axel back to his own corner. Wham, a DDT, and now the Flyboy has Axel at his own mercy. And he, Flyboy, is a merciless man.
Absolutely. Rocco Rock now ascending to the top turnbuckle. He's walking the top rope, but no, Axel run! Oh boy, Rocco Rock going for the ride, and he'll be singing rap and hip-hop in soprano.
And he's a cojones-less man too as well.
And again, this matchup available only on ECW Home Video. And again, Rocco Rock straddling the guardrail as Johnny Grunge repeatedly goes face first into the top turnbuckle, and the middle turnbuckle, and the bottom turnbuckle. And now, Axel Rock telling the referee to count down Johnny Grunge.
We are 7 seconds away from the baseball bat being in play.
That's 6. Johnny Grunge struggling to get to his feet. No, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Oh, he got up at 9. I wanted to see the Bad Breed get the baseball bat. Just for once, I wanted to see the tables turn on the two hoodies.
Hey, and I wanted to see Calvin Ferguson ride the Atlanta Commuter Railroad, but not all my wishes come true either.
Bulldog off the top on Johnny Grunge. And again, the count will start. Would you like to elaborate on the Calvin Ferguson remark?
I'm sure anybody who lives in Atlanta and who knows who Calvin Ferguson is knows exactly what I'm talking about. Unless, of course, they'd like to marry somebody who protested against Vietnam veterans all throughout the 1960s when our guys were sent over there for no damn good reason at all.
Does it make sense to you that the guy who owns every multimedia company in the world holds on to one that continually loses money, millions of dollars? Yeah, oh, I don't want to talk about this. Johnny Grunge clotheslines one half of the Bad Breed out of his boot. And again, the count is started only up to a count of 4 this time, as Ian Rotten goes face first into the turnbuckle. Back in comes the Flyboy.
And Rocco Rock now is trying to put away Ian Rotten. They know they have him vulnerable. They know they have him in the right position. And the Flyboy's going to try to finish him off and get the baseball bat in play.
High cross body, but there are no covers. Well, just goes to show you what great wrestlers the Public Enemy are. On instinct, they're going for 3 counts. Hoodies or not, these two have come a long way and are one hell of a tag team.
Uh-oh, they're setting him up, and if they hit this, it's all over. We'll definitely see the 10 count.
And Rocco Rock is doomed. He's up to 3. This may be it. Johnny Grunge on the outside. Make it to his feet. Will the Bad Breed get the baseball bat?
He's so close, but he's so far away.
And there's the baseball bat. The Bad Breed got the baseball bat. And you can bet this matchup won't last long now. He'll get the 3 count. You can bet on it. He's swinging for the fences.
We are going to see a major upset and a tremendous detour against the Public Enemy as they try to go back to the ECW Tag Team title. The Bad Breed with the bat, and they're swinging for the fences.
You can bet Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck are looking on and loving it. As Axel, attempting to follow Rock into the stands, loses the baseball bat, but catches it on the chin.
taken a lot of women's purses in his time.
That he has, as now Rocco Rock taking Axel Rotten for a ride. Where are they going?
They're going anywhere the Flyboy wants to take them. See, that's the whole point. It's Falls Count anywhere now. Any single place in the Hamburg Fieldhouse that you can wham with a chair. And again, the Flyboy all over Axel Rotten. And now the Public Enemy have the advantage on both ends.
And this type of action is indicative of the ECW. We won't see it anywhere else because nobody else has the guts to sanction this type of matchup. Suplex! Axel Rotten just suplex Rocco Rock on the outside, and there's a leg drop. Remember, Falls Count anywhere. If he covers Rocco Rock right now, the Bad Breed will pull off the upset of the year.
And right now, the Public Enemy is in a world of hurt as Axel Rotten has the chair and wham! Right down across the back of the former ECW Tag Team Champion, Flyboy Rocco Rock. And Johnny Grunge and Ian Rotten now have bloodied each other and they're crawling through the stand.
Rocco Rock fighting back as well. You want to swing the lumber, you want to swing chairs. The Public Enemy can swing with the best of them. Great camera work here, capturing all the action as Ian Rotten following Johnny Grunge back into the crowd.
And now the Flyboy taking it all the way to the very back of the Hamburg Fieldhouse as he is pummeling Axel Rotten. And oh man, they're going out the door.
Hamburg, Pennsylvania, of course, a historic wrestling city, and they are witnessing history right now. It's the brawl game, the Public Enemy, and the Bad Breed beating each other off of every wall in this field house.
And here's the scary part. Sooner or later, the baseball bat will come back into play.
That baseball bat is somewhere in this building. This might wind up in the parking lot.
And the baseball bat's one of the least violent weapons that they've used so far. And now they're going into the bathroom. I guess Ian had too many tacos for lunch.
Axel Rotten now brawling with Rocco Rock up in the bleachers. I tell you what, when you buy a ticket for ECW action, you get your money's worth. You may lose your seat, but you'll get your money's worth.
And now all four men have blooded each other as the Flyboy takes it to Axel in the bleachers. And what it's going to boil down to is this. Which team has dished out more punishment? Because the Bad Breed, if they can turn this around, is primed to take away from the Public Enemy the only title that means more than an ECW Tag Team title. That's the title of being the roughest, toughest tag team in the ECW.
Johnny Grunge just bumped the 2x4 over Ian Rotten's back, and if he holds his thumb up in the air and yells, "Ho, I'm leaving."
Why did he ever want to talk about his dates from the previous night during wrestling?
I'm sorry I brought it up. It's now Ian Rotten and Johnny Grunge back at ringside, and Johnny Grunge laying into Ian Rotten.
And now Axel Rotten trying to catch a breather as the Flyboy is on his tail. And again, now the Public Enemy showing why they are still the #1 contenders to regain the ECW Tag Team Championship as Johnny Grunge whips Ian into the guardrail.
They're also most likely to wind up back in jail by 1994. Ian Rotten goes downstairs on Johnny Grunge. The Public Enemy is in trouble now. Did you hear that? Can you read lips?
What am I, a gynecologist? Ian Rotten now right on the tail of Johnny Grunge, and the Bad Breed is poised to pull an upset over the Public Enemy.
The Public Enemy lose the brawl game match to the Bad Breed? Yeah, right. When Brutus Beefcake headline Starrcade.
I'm not even there. That's stupid.
I guess you're right. And Johnny Grunge now choking Ian Rotten.
Like I said, I want to make a prediction right here, right now. I think the Public Enemy will defeat the Bad Breed in the brawl game.
Wait a minute, can we roll that back? I could have sworn that 2 minutes. Oh, never mind. Oh my! If a picture is worth 1,000 words, Johnny Grunge is writing a novel about ECW as we speak. And now the tables have turned, and he just assaulted Johnny Grudge with a soda can. Hell, be young, have fun, watch ECW.
Oh, this is a brawl and it's a game, but it's a game that the Public Enemy have played a lot more than the Rotten Brothers as Ian gets dumped back into the first row. And oh man, Grudge, wham, right down on top of Ian.
That's the first time I've seen Johnny Grudge use a high crossbody. Oddly enough, he chooses to do it into the first row. Rocco Rock and Axel Rotten have made their way back into the ring. There's a novel idea.
There's a novel idea, and that's a novel haircut for a referee. 2 referees to officiate the brawl game. One on the outside of the ring, one on the inside of the ring. And oh man, that looked painful for the Flyboy.
He won't be doing a cabbage patch anytime soon. Ian Rotten and Johnny Grudge have just taken this fight from one end of the building to the other.
And like I said, I predict the Bad Breed will defeat the Public Enemy here tonight in the brawl game.
I've had enough of you. Face first into the steps goes Johnny Grudge. Grudge trying to shake it off. That didn't work too well. Axel Rotten still choking away. There's a cover.
And it looks to me like they're going to finish off the Flyboy. This is going to be the upset of the year.
This is the same way they knocked him out the first time to bring the bat into play. It's over. Rocco Rock is going. No! Johnny Grudge with a baseball bat. Breaks it up. Now turns with the bat. There's the victory roll. 1, 2, 3. The Public Enemy has won the brawl game.
Of course, I predicted it. I told you all along that Flyboy Rocco Rock and Johnny Grudge would defeat the Bad Breed in the brawl game. I'm always right, you know.
Beginning right now. Pitbull number 1's on the outside with Ian Rotten. Pitbull 2 is in the ring with Big Brother Axel. Whipping on Axel, who goes in hard, but Pitbull 2 misses and goes to the outside. Clothesline by Axel Rotten. Face first into the apron goes Pitbull 1. So close. Ian Rotten into the guardrail on the outside. Standing drop kick in the ring by Pitbull number 2. Pitbull number 1 assaulting Ian Rotten with the chair. Suplex, nicely executed by Pitbull number 2. There's a cover, 1, 2, and no. 2 count only. Pitbull 2 sends Axel out of the ring. Meanwhile, right in front of us, Ian Rotten and Pitbull number 1 exchanging blows. Ian Rotten misses and goes right into the guardrail. Pitbull number 1. Meanwhile, Axel and Pitbull number 2 are hammering each other on the outside. Axel getting ahead of steam. He missed. Face first. Goes Ian Rotten into the boot of the Pitbull. Flying shoulder tackle by Pitbull number 1. Illegal tag. There's an idea. Double underhook suplex. What power by Pitbull number 2. Another legal tag. looking at Pitbull number 1. Slingshot shoulder block. There's a tag again. I don't like the looks of this. Oh no! The super bomb! There's the cover! 2 and 3. And the Pitbull. The Pitbulls have taken out the Bad Breed. And that is gonna make them the #1 contenders for whoever. Look out, here comes Axel. Axel's got the chains of the Pitbulls. This one is not over by a long shot. We have not heard the last of the Bad Breed of the Pitbulls. Continuing to hammer away on Pitbull number 2. Ian and Pitbull number 1 really going at it on the outside. And Pitbull number 1 is bleeding profusely. And so is Pitbull number 2. Oh my! The Pitbulls have been busted wide open by the Bad Breed. Well, we expected a war and we got one. Seeing right now is extreme, to say the least. How many turkeys you think they're going to devour at Thanksgiving dinner? Speaking of turkeys, get stuffed. Stay out of South Jersey. And this jam-packed crowd here at the ECW Arena is set to experience the difference. Apparently, Pitbull number 2 will be hooked to Big Brother Axel, and Pitbull number 1 hooked to Little Brother Ian. Little Brother Ian weighs in at a mere 302 pounds. Referee Jim Molyneux now hooking on that dog collar. And some trash talking going on between Ian and Pitbull 1. They can give a damn about that chain. They want to go at it now. Axel Rotten and Pitbull 2 are already going at it. Hurry up, Molyneux. Start this matchup. Pitbull number 2 using the steel against Axel Rotten. Pitbull 1 just shoves Molyneux on his can. Snapmare takes Ian over, now choking away. And both Pitbulls choking both Rotten brothers. Standing suplex and nicely executed by Pitbull number 2. Pitbull number 1 experienced a very scientific eye gouge at the hands of one half of the Bad Breed. Axel Rotten shot in hard. Pitbull 2 wrapping the chain around his fist. Pitbull number 1 hammering down on Ian Rotten, who battles back to his feet. Axel Rotten whipped it hard once again. And again, Pitbull 2 just laying into the forehead of Axel with that chain. Face first into the post. Goes Axel Rotten. And Jason looks pleased. Oh my! Chair between the eyes. Pitbull 2 now back in the ring with Axel. Remember, no disqualifications, no countouts. Referee Jim Molyneux is there only to make the 3 count. The tables turned on the outside as Ian whips Pitbull 1 into the steel. And now it's Ian with the chair. Ian Rotten now trying to pull the Pitbull in. Well, the fans in the ECW arena aren't shy about telling us what they want. Pitbull 1 just shakes it off. I think he liked it. And Ian Rotten thrown into the first row. And Pitbull number 1 like a rabid dog all over Ian Rotten. Remember, where one man goes, so goes the other. They are chained together at the neck. Ian and Pitbull 1 bloodied. Ian blocks the chair, and Pitbull 1 is wearing it. Pitbull 2 and Axel Rotten still going at it in the middle of the ring. Pitbull 2 really enjoys his work, doesn't he? Watching all these 4 men blooding one another with the holiday season approaching, the one thing I will be thankful for next week is that I am up here in the Eagle's Nest and not in the ring. And Ian Rotten again catches that chair in the head. Looks like he's bleeding both from the front and back of his skull. Axel Rotten firing back at Pitbull number 2. Oh my! Pitbull 1 rolls back in. He's followed by Ian Rotten, who doesn't realize he's hooked himself on the bottom rope. Rolls back in underneath. seconds cost him. Pitbull 1 setting up Ian Rotten. And that kick caught Ian Rotten on the point of the jaw and sent him tumbling to the outside. Pitbull 1 quick to follow. Pitbull 1 setting him up for a suplex. And he hits. The Pitbull, so physically intimidating, so ferocious. They claim they will be the team of the 90s. Pitbull number 2 just hops over the guardrail and pulls Axel Rotten over like a slab of meat. I don't think Pitbull number 2 even has a clue as to how strong he is. As now Pitbull 2 really choking Axel Rotten. Pitbull 1 not to be outdone, further bloodying the face. Ian Rotten was now wearing the Crimson Mask. Thank you, Gordon Soley. Hope there's some brandy on my Thanksgiving table this year. And Ian Rotten just took that chain and pulled it between the legs of the Pitbull. If he hadn't been fixed before, he may be now. Leg drop by Pitbull number 2. Come on, 1, 2. Kick out at 2. Axel Rotten somehow kicks out after sustaining all that punishment. And now wraps the steel around his fist. Pitbull 1 coming to his partner's aid. Under the rope. Axel Rotten catches a chair between the eyes and falls to his knees. Right now the Pitbull's taking the fight to the bad breed. Oh my! And this find of the Pitbulls may be the one that launched Jason to superstardom as the manager here in the ECW. Suplex reversed by Axel Rotten. Pitbull 1 and Ian Rotten can barely stand, most likely due to blood loss. Ian shot in. Catches Pitbull 1 in the face with a forearm. Pitbull 2 over the top rope. Cinching up Axel Rotten. Axel blocks the suplex. Blocks it a second time. Pitbull 2 to the outside. Axel Rotten reverses it. Ian Rotten over the top and to the floor. You want to talk about hardcore? You want to talk about extreme? You want to experience the difference? You're seeing it here on ECW Home Video. Cover up, there's nowhere for him to go. choking away on Pitbull number 1 with what looks to be a broom handle. Pitbull number 2, less creative, using a straight right hand. Snap suplex on the floor. Pitbull number 2 showing no signs of letting up. Thus far, this matchup has been everything we expected and more. It's been brutal. It's been bloody. In short, it has been extreme. Pitbull 2 now wraps the chain around the mouth, the eyes, the nose of Ian Rotten. That's like shredding cabbage for coleslaw. Is that a fan wearing a WWF hat in the front row of the ECW arena? Just shred him up against the guardrail. What is he thinking? Well, then again, here at the ECW arena and in the ECW, we honor the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of thought. You are welcome to wear anything you want to the ECW arena. You are entitled to your own opinion, no matter how utterly ridiculous it may be. Ian Rotten shot it, no. The chain snaps him back into Pitbull number 2. I don't know how much longer these 4 men can keep it up. They've lost a lot of blood. This one's not for titles. This one's not for money. It's for pride. It's for bragging rights. Oh my! That chair has been dented and is now smeared with Pitbull 2's blood. And Axel hits the steel once again. The dog collar has come loose from the throat of Pitbull number 2. Pitbull 1 on the second turnbuckle, measuring Ian, and misses the forearm. But Pitbull 2 does not miss with the chair. Is a bloody mess. Nevertheless, he is on the second turnbuckle, double axe handle between the shoulder blades of Pitbull number 1. Jason looking on and looks worried as Pitbull number 2 continues the onslaught on Axel Rotten. Ian Rotten now going to the top, looks like a fish out of water. Jason catches him. Ian Rotten caught straddling the top turnbuckle in a very precarious position. Both Pitbulls going up to the top. They're trying to cinch up Ian Rotten. Will they get him up? Double suplex from the top turnbuckle. Cover, 2, 3. It's over. It's over. Jason's Pitbulls have won the double dog collar matchup. And the fans here in the ECW arena have just experienced the difference, as have Axel and Ian Rotten. Happy Thanksgiving. Take out Cactus Jack, just like they took out Paulie Dangerously, just like they took out Sabu, and now they're bringing in the table. They're gonna do to Cactus what they did to Paulie and Sabu, the ultimate humiliation, as Rocco Rock is trying to become the heir to the throne as the most suicidal, homicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac. Here's the Tasmaniac. He's lost a lot of blood. And Sabu plants him on the table once again. Taz hits the belly-to-belly on Rocco Rock. Sabu is in a chair on the top turnbuckle. What the hell is he gonna do? Oh my God, Sabu just dropped from a chair on top of the turnbuckles, on top of Johnny Grudge on the table. The Tasmaniac and Sabu have cleared the ring of the Public Enemy. The Public Enemy retained the ECW Tag Team title belts. But the war between Sabu, Taz, and the Public Enemy